What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Jake Shavink here, and we have yet another trade in this wild offseason in the NFL. This one being a little more centric to the draft, though, between the New Orleans Saints and the Philadelphia Eagles. The New Orleans Saints giving up picks 18, 101, and 237 in this year's draft, as well as a 2023 first-round pick and a 2024 second-round pick, giving it up to the Philadelphia Eagles for picks 16, 19, and 194 in this year's draft. So now the Saints are the latest team to have 2 first-round picks in the 2022 NFL Draft, joining 7 others. So what does that mean for the New Orleans Saints? Well, we know the needs that they have. They're at left tackle with the departure of Teron Armstead, and wide receiver too. Who is that guy who's going to be next to Michael Thomas and make plays on the other side? They need those 2 spots. Obviously, there's maybe some questions at safety, but they did bring in Marcus May. Hopefully he can come back and perform well like he did pre-injury. And then there's the elephant in the room we may talk about at the end. But it's clear that the New Orleans Saints like this draft at the top, and they believe that the tackle position is a little scarce in this year's draft, which I tend to agree. I think there's clear top 3, then there's a lot of question marks after that. And at wide receiver, there's a lot of nice 2s and 3s, but maybe they want to get up and find that elite wide receiver too. So now they can do both of those things with these 2 first-round picks. Now, who will the Saints target is the question with these 2 picks. I think it's interesting to note that they are sitting in an area in the late teens with these 2 picks around teams that have similar needs. You look at the Los Angeles Chargers, for starters, who have definite needs at tackle and definite needs at receiver. So they have 2 picks now, and they can kind of move ahead of them. They are ahead of them with pick 16. Maybe they use 19 to move up. So, and that receiver run that we talk about, it could be happening, potentially at the start with the Falcons at 8 or the Jets at 10. So the Saints have got now 2 picks to kind of move up if they want to get that receiver or tackle. So let's talk about the trade up targets here first. The first one I think is Charles Cross, who has been taking a little bit of a tumble down boards. There's been rumors that the top media guys have talked about the potential now Charles Cross fall that we could see. Clearly the NFL believes that Ekwonu and Neal are the top 2 tackles. Now, where could the Saints move up? And that's the real question, is where are the trade partners? I think 10 through 14 offer that opportunity. The Jets at 10, they want to move back. They've talked about wanting to move back with that second first they have. This would be a good spot to do so. Pick 11, if Washington doesn't like what they see on the board. Minnesota, we've talked about potentially trading back if Gardner's not there, because there are a lot of questions about after the top 10 with some of these guys like Stingley they might not like. You have 13 with Houston Texans. Maybe they want to keep moving back and get even more swings at the plate to fill that cupboard and really get that rebuild in full force. And then 14, the Baltimore Ravens, always open for a trade back. So those 5 teams, I think, could all be potential partners in a trade. Now, if Cross starts to tumble on the board and the Jets don't like him at 10, maybe New Orleans, that's where you move up there to get Charles Cross. Or you may even have to take it one step further. The Giants at 7 could potentially move back. If they get their guy in, like, say, Neal at 5, you jump Seattle, who could potentially take Cross at 9. Now, does Seattle love Cross? We don't know. But I think 7 and 10 are the places you kind of want to move up to get Charles Cross, who is, again, a very good pass protector, good vision, recognizing stunts, plenty athletic, great footwork, anchor improved a ton, and has played in the SEC and has been through that gauntlet. So, again, a guy who can step right in and be that left tackle for you and should thrive on that offensive line. And now you've got Cross and Ramczyk, and the interior is pretty solid overall. So we're right back into having a good offensive line. The other 2 targets I would look at are at receiver, and one of them is Jamison Williams. Even though it does seem like Jamison Williams, he maybe could fall to 17 or 16, or maybe even 19 if teams are concerned about the injury that he suffered in the national championship game. However, it does seem like with that rehab out of schedule, he's talked about how he feels good at this point. He's been doing some rehab stuff that you've probably seen. So maybe Jamison Williams isn't really falling as far as we think. Maybe Minnesota's in the mix. You never know. Maybe if Houston deals Brandon Cooks, they could get their speed guy again in Jamison Williams. So you never know here what you're going to see when draft day rolls around. So the Saints could package 19 and something else to get up there for Jamison Williams, who would be that deep threat that they've long missed in this offense. a la Devery Henderson, a Kenny Stills, those types. But again, Williams has separation quickness, that elite acceleration that you just don't see very often, to just flip field in an instant and just leave guys in the dust. Good catch radius as well, good hands. So overall, he's a good prospect. He just, again, can that 178-pound frame stay healthy? The other guy to watch for, I think, is Chris Olabe. And it may seem like Chris Olabe should be available at 16 or 19. Again, like Williams, could be. But if they're not sure about that, and we've heard reports about the Ohio State receivers going higher than we think, Garrett Wilson being obviously one of them, Chris Olabe could be another. I think he's in play at 11 and 12. This is where, again, if you want to move with the Jets, if the Jets don't like what they see, you move up to 10 and you secure Olabe, who is a good deep threat, easy speed, smooth speed, working down the field, and a technician who can separate just like Michael Thomas can. So now you've got two reliable guys, but you also have a deep threat as well in Olabe to combine with his ability to just be always open, right? So I think those are the three guys to watch when you talk about targets to move up. Maybe Garrett Wilson's in the mix for that too. Obviously, he ran in the 4.3s. That's a good number for him. He does it in all three phases, so that's a possibility. But I do think they might move 19 or 16 to get up for a receiver. Now that begs the question, what's the other pick going to do? If they stand pat and they can get Olabe at, say, 16, right? What are they going to do at 19? Well, the Chargers are probably in the market for tackle, and it's very possible they end up with one. But let's operate under the assumption that maybe Charles Cross falls and they don't like Charles Cross, and Cross is picked at 17. I think there are two options, clear options for the Saints then at 19. One of those is Trevor Pening, the tackle from Northern Iowa, again, tested out of this world, had a pretty solid Senior Bowl. I think it was up and down. I do think there are, questions about him giving up a lot of ground to guys who can convert speed to power, who are explosive and have good hand placement. So in pass protection, it's a little iffy for me, but the good news is you have, if you really want to operate under this philosophy still, is you want to move Ramczyk over to the left side to be that pass protector, and you kind of have that right tackle that you run off of. That's very outdated, but they could potentially think this way. Who knows? You have that nasty guy get after it in the run game type who you may not want on that blind side protecting, Jameis Winston. So Trevor Pening definitely in play, but I think you can work on him with technique, with hand placement, with dropping his weight a little bit more to anchor. There are things to work with when you have that athleticism. And again, the pre-draft process by all accounts has been going well. The other one to watch for is Bernhard Raimann from Central Michigan. Now, he will turn 25 as a rookie. For some teams, that will push him off the board. The Saints might not be one of those teams because, again, they have a lot of veterans in-house. Maybe they feel like, okay, Bernhard Raimann, converted tight end, obviously spent time abroad. So he's a little bit newer to the position, converting from tight end, but he's perfectly athletic. The footwork's good. He can recover quickly. It's just, again, about giving up that corner for him a lot of times with some of these speed rushers who can bend the arc and create and flatten to the quarterback. That's a little bit of concern for Raimann. But, again, this is where he's still developing. And even as a 25-year-old, if the Saints are still operating under this, like, we can win now, Winston's good enough until we find that one quarterback that can change everything for us, and you feel good that offensive line is set and Raimann can be that piece for you. I think it's in play. We've heard that he's going round one, so wouldn't be shocked there at all. I don't think there are really many others. Maybe Treylon Burks is in play for the Saints. It just seems like, again, he's a speed threat, so that there is that speed threat at his size that's pretty good. And he can beat press, he can win down the field. So it's probably an option, but I think I would lean Olabe or Williams for them since they're in the teens and they can make that move up if need be. And again, you can settle for the consolation prize, but I do think it makes a lot of sense to potentially move from 19 up if you want Cross, and you can maybe settle for Williams or Olabe at 16, depending on what the Eagles do with that pick. So in front of you. So we'll see. I'm really interested to see how the Saints maneuver. Then there's the elephant in the room we want to talk about really quick as quarterback. It's hard to fathom them signing Jameis Winston, right? Bringing in Andy Dalton. Still technically have Taysom Hill on the roster. Are they really going to move up for that guy at quarterback? They can package enough to move up to like 5 if they want to. That'll be good enough to do in terms of the draft value score. So they could get up there in front of Carolina for Malik Willis if they really want Malik Willis. Now, the Saints under Sean Payton had moved up 13 spots back in the few years ago in the draft, and many in 2018, and many thought it was Lamar Jackson who was going to be that pick. Malik Willis, obviously another powerful, speedy runner who can change the game with his legs, has a rocket for an arm, bigger arm than Lamar Jackson's. Right, this is where you look at the Josh Allen project type player, for sure, for Malik Willis. It's such a hard eval because a lot of the talent around him was not very good. He was always running for his life. Does he trust his offensive line? Was he not finding the openings over the middle or getting to his reads because the offensive line was bad? That's a tough question for Malik Willis. But they're going to ride it out with Winston for 2 years. That's how long he's signed for. So again, I think the short list for them is Cross, Pening, Ryman. And I think Jamison Williams or Chris Olabe should really be their target, and I think will be. Garrett Wilson, maybe. Like I said, Burks, maybe. London just doesn't fit like the contrasting styles. So they have options. They're about 7 options I think you could consider here. And it'll be interesting, like I said, to see what the Saints really do on the first day of the NFL draft, because it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of maneuvering. It's a weird draft. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, Saints fans, on what the Saints could potentially do with those 2 first-round picks. If you did, maybe throw a like down there. Subscribe if you're new. There will be a lot of more team-centric coverage of the NFL draft, but there's also stuff you can check out. Prospect profiles, mock drafts, and a live show, NFL Draft Live. So check out all that stuff on the channel if you're new. If you're coming back, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys very, very soon with more draft content. Farewell.